on the stuff that we are doing. So hope everybody's doing well. We have X on. We have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, everybody on. Nice to see everybody today. I'm going to go a little bit more straight on with this one here. Hope everybody's doing well. It's been a fantastic day here. I spent all my, people say, I had a question on here, had nothing to do with like clinical, but they said, Doc, what do you do all day? I've literally had probably 15 phone calls with all of my docs and nurses, and not all of them, I mean only a small fraction of them, across country from all the offices. So I communicate, we talk everything from business to clinical, cover some issues and cover some clinical things, cover some business things. So it's basically my day, and great calls with all my wonderful docs from across country, and nurses and staff and stuff. So it's great having people all over the world. So remember, if you do want to know where our clinics are, you can go to thewellnessway.com and click on Find a Clinic on top right, and you'll see it there. So now, once again, every day we're jumping on. We're hoping to be on tomorrow. It depends, we got to shoot our ADP tomorrow. But we're going to be a very short time live today, because then I got to do an interview. I have to do an interview right after this. And that's happening, so I got to be done here in 28 minutes. So we're just going to do a short live. So first of all, if you do have a question, and if you notice, there's 2 or 3 pages here now. If you do have a question and we do not get to it, we're going to then go back to the platform, write down the questions, and then we'll sometimes do reels on, we'll sometimes do live things on there. And I saw a question on here. We're going to start right away with a couple questions here from our old sheets from people that asked over the last couple days. And then what happens is I'll start going to the live questions. We have Trinity, we have Hunter, we have Justin, we have everybody here. But let's get into this question right here. It says, what's your take on the gut-brain connection? What's my take on the gut-brain connection? Well, it's a real connection, but there's also a brain-gut connection. There's also a gut-kidney connection. There's also a liver hormone connection. I know people focus on the gut-brain connection because it's extremely real. There's an integrant nervous system that has, that they know billions of nerve endings and stuff that are going to have some, afferent response to the brain, and it can change it. It can have a very negative and positive effect on it. So the gut-brain connection is real. I can honestly tell you what got me to even look into nutrition, immunology, chiropractic, medicine, all forms of healthcare, was a response that was happening with myself, to where that I was eating things that were, let's just say triggering, more of an inflammatory spot that was chronically there, which now leads to some mental issues. And so therefore, once I started to figure them out, once I started to eat better, once I started to take away things that were irritating to my system, and that's the big thing. What irritates one person's gut doesn't automatically irritate somebody else's gut. So if I were to do a scratch test, which I've done many times, I used to have an IG-ETA eggs. I used to. It was very devastating. I've even pulled my blood in an IgE in there. I've had IgGs on there for there. So I have had certain immune responses that could lead to a neurological, but also could lead to, muscle wasting. It could lead to other inflammatory towards other organs, not just the gut. So is there a gut-brain connection? Yes. But I want you to look like the body like a Swiss watch. But the gut can affect other organs too. The brain can affect other organs. The immune system affects all organs. Hormonal system can have a major hit. The body's like a Swiss watch. Each gear can affect another gear, which has an effect on another gear, and it's a downward spiral if something goes bad. So yes, there is a connection there. All right. So I think it's a very real thing, and it's something that should always be investigated. So now, what else do we have here? Let me see here. Here we go. Are wearable devices like Oura Rings or fitness trackers really helpful for health? I think they are. I think they are. I really do. I think monitoring things is always good for your health. I think like if you took your blood pressure through the day, it's a good thing to monitor. If you checked your blood sugar, obviously I don't want people sticking their finger unless they really need to. If they're diabetic or type 1 or type 2, I think it's essential they do it that way. But I think that any way of monitoring some physiology, any way to monitoring that's something that could go pathological, I think is very beneficial. I really do. So I think those trackers, I think if it just gives you a little bit of guidance, I like things that try to get you to sleep more. I like things that try to get you to have restful sleep. I like things that, so I'm a big fan of those things. So I do think that trackers do have a benefit. So So if you want to purchase them, and I think do have benefit. I really do. All right, Trinity, Hunter, what do we got for questions? You guys all ready now?
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Trinity, Hunter first. Oh, Trinity, you're going to run out of juice on your computer?
Fine.
That's all right. It'll be good. So first of all, thank you for everybody. Once again, we have Hunter, we have Justin, we have Trinity here today. What do you got there, Trinity?
What to do if I'm insulin resistant?
What to do if you're insulin resistant? Well, one thing that I want to talk about first is this. Insulin is essential for life. Insulin is essential for to have a very healthy body. There's different forms of insulin. Insulin's also an anabolic hormone. It seems like it's been demonized due to the fact that there has been conditions that can manifest from high levels of insulin for a significant amount of time that leads to the resistance of it, so that now leads circulating blood sugars to continue to circulate, which can cause some oxidation, some glycation, and some other damaging effects. But to demonize insulin is not good, okay? Insulin is very essential for life. And really what it stems from is a highly processed, sugared diet, which a lot of people have for a significant amount of time. And because insulin is needed on a regular through the day basis for you to be able to maintain normal blood sugars. But if we consume things for too long, for too high, there can be some damaging effects. So the number one thing I tell people that have insulin resistance that they need to do is, first of all, start to calorie restrict, okay? Start to calorie restrict. And how you can start calorie restriction is focus on proteins first, then focus on very good high fiber foods. Now, the reason why I say fiber, they're all carbohydrates, but people say, stay away from carbohydrates. No. Please don't do that. I want you to do very good fiber-based foods just because there's so many benefits. There's so many benefits. I can honestly tell you, yes, if you have insulin resistance, go carnivore for 2 weeks, you'll see a big change. You really will. But you can't maintain that for long periods of time. Plus, you're going to miss things that I believe that your microbes need. And I will tell you, I'm a very big fermented food person. I believe that that if you're eating fermented foods on a regular basis, especially sauerkraut. Oh, sauerkraut also has so much vitamin C. So much vitamin C. You can't even compare a food when it comes to that. When it comes to vitamin C. And we need vitamin C, especially with the amount of sugar people are eating during the Halloween and Thanksgiving and Christmas and overconsumption of calories that way. We need good vitamin C for our immune responses. But I want you to remember this, that if you start to bring calories down, but when I say bring calories down, people think automatically you're going to just eat nothing. If you focus on high dense good proteins and good fiber, you eat a lot of food with very little calories. A lot of food with very little calories. And the reason why I talk about that is this, is fats bring in a lot of calories. They really do. And you need extremely healthy fats, and you can get very good fats when you eat your proteins. It's just that what I want you to do if you're insulin resistant, look at calories in, calories out. And I get so frustrated, guys. I get so frustrated to see this. People try to debunk calories in, calories out. No. Don't. It's just that bringing a lot of foods that are very low calorie so you're satiated, so you actually are not hungry anymore without trying to starve yourself, because you can't maintain that. But you can maintain very good high proteins with great fibers and still get your macro, micro, and also microbials. Ooh, I just created something. Macros, micros, and microbials. I like that. You gotta get 3 M's. Let's do a 3 M's, Hunter. We gotta run that. Let's do a video just on 3 M's. We're gonna do a reel on 3 M's. Macros, micros, and microbials. There we go. Just made that up, guys, right now. And that's why you eat fibers, you get wonderful microbials. We just answered the question about the gut-brain connection. A lot of gut-brain connection is affected if somebody would happen to take a medication like an antibiotic and destroy your microbials. That does affect the gut. It does affect the enteric nervous system, which is going to give different neurological responses. So I'm a big fan of people, having insulin resistance to calorie restrict, but do it by where it doesn't seem like you're restricting food as far as like the amount of food if you do focus on good protein and good fibers. Great question. And what do I do with my drink? I thought I had my drink out here. Oh, Trini, Hunter, could you grab me a ZV over there? I need something to sip on. So Trini, what's our next question?
dark circles?
Okay, how to fix under eye dark circles. My first concern would be some blood sugar and cortisol issues. Cortisol, okay? So therefore, number one, I would try to balance your blood sugar. Thank you so much, Hunter. I would support your adrenals with ashwagandha. Guys, ashwagandha is studied extensively. It's very good. I will always take ashwagandha. And I can honestly tell you, I'm not a stressful person. I want to, slap people upside the head all day long, but that's not really stress. I just look at people having dumb actions. I'm like, I want to, you know what I'm saying? And, but I've never experienced depression. I've never experienced anxiety. It doesn't mean that I, not upset. It just means the fact is I'm always driving forward. And so the stressors that I do have, I'm always building things and doing great things, which by nature is painful and stressful, but that's more of a eustress, not a distress. And therefore, at least by supporting your adrenals, watching your blood sugar, you're gonna have less chance of having those dark circles underneath your eyes. What are you gonna ask?
We have 2 questions regarding headaches.
2 questions regarding headaches. Now, headaches are very complicated because there's multiple forms of headaches. Okay, so what do we got?
One person has headaches regularly.
One person has headaches regularly. So that means, once again, there's inflammatory triggers that are affecting you neurologically. So there's something that you're doing on a regular basis. And what I mean by this, remember, you could be eating a food that you think is healthy, is inflammatory for you. You could have some microbial that's consistently, releasing endotoxins and circulating, causing a problem. You could have structural issues that lead to different headaches. Keep going, Trini. What else?
And then the
other person
is wondering how to relieve headaches while pregnant.
The other person is understanding how to relieve headaches while pregnant. Okay, first of all, try to do something structurally. Massage, number one, okay? And if you do have a structural problem, go to a chiropractor because then it's gonna affect them neurologically. Those 2 things can have a benefit. Number 3, traction. I do like traction, especially because it takes the pressure off the neck and neck muscles and opens up the canals. Next, after that, I'm concerned being pregnant that you are inflammatory, and there are things that you can take or you have to always be careful when you're pregnant because obviously you should be careful all the time. But look at doing some turmeric. Turmeric's very safe when you're pregnant. But then there could be some hormonal things that are kind of going, and you can't take ashwagandha while pregnant. All right, we got next.
Somebody on YouTube wants to know.
Someone on YouTube wants to know.
Can one be overweight and healthy?
Can one be overweight and healthy? Yes, they can. They actually can. Now, they can't be obese, but they can actually have adipose stores in different areas of the body. Because remember, I want you to think about this. I'm going to go hunting, okay? And so therefore, if you think about this, let's say I'm sitting there, I'm looking for the big buck. I'm looking for the trophy buck. And all of a sudden, a bear walks out. And a bear's going to be hibernating pretty soon. Well, what does a bear do through the whole season when it's nice out? They put on a lot of fat. And then what they do is they hibernate, and then their body uses the fat storages for calories and nutrients and stuff like that, and they lose it all. So therefore, can a person by nature, especially women, have a little bit of adipose tissue around their butt cheeks or the boobs and things like that? And yeah, they can. They really can. There's women that have breasts, and guess what happens is they're going to have tissue that is going to be maintained, and women need a certain amount of fat to do it that way. That's why I get very concerned when I see really skinny women that don't have fat. They usually have some cyclic problems because they need a certain amount of fat. There is a fat percentage that a person can have. I know it's really interesting. This is just me, it's kind of funny. If you ever see the movie Wolverine Deadpool, well, if you look at Hugh Jackman, he was jacked at the last part of the movie. That was really his body. Now, he didn't drink or eat for 72 hours before they shot that scene because he had to dehydrate himself to even see that kind of muscle. Now, it's good for guys not to have a lot of adipose tissue because a certain percentage. Women are always going to have a little bit more. But if you get obese and it stays there for a long period of time, so if you do hold a little bit of weight and then you get rid of it, you're going to be do quite well. It's just that because your body can fluctuate a little bit. You can even gain a little weight and drop it and things like that. And it's not going to cause any major health issue. It's just that when you start to get obese for a long period of time, then blood sugar and insulin resistance and a lot of other metabolic syndrome things start to happen.
My 16-year-old daughter has realized her hair is thinning out.
What? Now your 16-year-old daughter has realized her hair is thinning out. It's very common for young ladies. I'll explain why.
Could hormones be the cause?
Could hormones be the cause?
And is there any supplement she should take?
And is there any supplements she should take? So my first concern before you think about supplements in 16-year-old girls, do you understand, man, if you have my nephews, like I said, Brandon, Lakin, AJ, Sam, I never had to convince them to eat meat. Now, the thing about my 4 beautiful daughters, I've never had to convince them to eat meat because they've never been in a culture to where it's like, ew, I want a salad, okay? So, and remember, once again, very big on cruciferous vegetables. Arugula is probably my favorite cruciferous, which is more of a salad. But here's what happens this. I always tell people, I can't trust women that only eat salads. Now, I know people take that out of context. I make it a little funny that way. Is a 16-year-old girl doesn't eat enough protein. They miss their macros and they miss their micronutrients. So therefore, I want you guys to understand they need to really focus on protein intake because, and especially throw some organ meats in there too because they're gonna get their macro and micronutrients. You need certain trace minerals and so certain macros to make sure you have good hair. Can hormones have effect on it? Absolutely. If they end up with too much androgen dominance, which would be a little bit higher in testosterone, you see this a lot in girl athletes. You see this in a lot of young ladies that actually don't have a lot of curves because they do lack some estrogens, they do lack some adipose tissue that does help them produce some hormones. So therefore, the first thing instead of supplementation, I would make sure that they're gonna get significant amount of proteins. Then, if there is some supplementation, I would start with more of the vitamin D aspect, fat-soluble vitamins, okay, but also vitamin D especially. D has a lot to do with the hair follicle itself. It even protects from some androgen dominance that way. So therefore, then I could look at some other things that you could do hormonally if there was some hormonal things. And I don't know why it's coming up today, but today is the ashwagandha day. I would start her to take a little bit of ashwagandha. My girls have taken ashwagandha pretty much their whole life. It's an adaptogenic herb that, once again, is very safe to take long periods of time. What do you got next, Dre?
What can we do to prevent getting sick this time of year?
What can you do at this time of year? Wait, what can you do
to prevent getting sick this time of year?
To prevent getting sick this time of year? Could you define what you mean by sick? You know, and I'm going to give you the answer. I travel a lot. I get a sniffle usually when I travel someplace new and I haven't been to the environment because it's a whole nother country. If I decide to go to Colorado, Hawaii, Florida, there's different microbes. There's different allergens. There's different trees. There's different everything. There's different, through areas of the world. And if I would get a sniffle that night, am I sick? Or is my body adapting to its new environment? Now, I come in contact with a lot of people, so they have mutated, shedding viruses, even if they've just had normal contact and didn't take any medication. And you know what medication I'm talking about. Okay, but anyways, so therefore our body has to adapt. So if you're asking what can you take so you don't have any symptomatology, I would say there's nothing that exists out there, because you're going to. I want people to understand that if all of a sudden Trinity or Hunter was mad at me and this wasn't Zevia, it was a short can of gasoline, okay? And Hunter wanted me to drink gasoline. I hope I throw up. I hope I have a fever. I hope I get diarrhea. I hope my skin breaks out because it's trying to eliminate it from my body. Okay, am I sick if that happens? Or is my body responding to a toxin that needs to get out? And from the perception of what the medical field has actually deemed you to believe, that if you throw up or if you have a sniffle or if you do have a skin outbreak that happens just acutely, that something's wrong, I want to disagree with that. What do? Do I take a medication to stop the gasoline from getting out and just stay in my body and cause damage? Stop the nausea, stop the fever, stop the pooping? Now, if you currently do a lot of good things to support your immune system, make sure you're doing sauerkraut so you get high doses of vitamin C. Make sure that your vitamin D levels are tested so you can make sure that they're between 70 and 90, and make sure you're taking enough vitamin D3, K2 to make sure that you give your immune system the arsenal to attack anything that comes in. Make sure that you're doing things like elderberry that has a very good effect on viral application. Make sure that you're taking echinacea and turkey tail to help with your natural killer cells. See, therefore now, those things are normal, so when I do travel, my sniffle is very quick. See, so you have to look at how people define being sick. Now, is somebody going to develop some pathology from just coming in contact with different viruses, only if they're immune compromised? So, all right. Well, wow, we only got a couple more minutes left. That was a fast half an hour. Let's go. What do you got?
Best advice for GOUT.
Best advice, so gout. A lot of people, when I talk about high protein, they think you're going to get gout. Actually, really think this way. High processed sugars, diabetic, hemoglobin A1C, reduce your sugar intake first. Without reducing your sugar intake, I'm not going to tell you to take boswellia or turmeric or oregano oil that's going to have a positive effect on gout. You need to drop your sugar levels first.
What do you recommend for low testosterone?
What do I recommend for low testosterone? A thorough investigation of why it's low. If you have any high levels of adipose tissue, you need to get rid of that first. You need to reduce your calories. You need to start eating good proteins, high good proteins. You need to start the very common things I'm going to tell people that way. And you need to find out, is there a neurological, is the LH low on you? Most people, once again, are you taking a statin medication, which can have a negative effect on the amount of circulating cholesterol that you do have? Do you need to take some tribulus? Do you need to take higher zinc-based foods? And that's the thing. I have a very wonderful testosterone level. Last time I checked, it was over 850. I'm 50 years old. I go 100 miles an hour. You need to investigate why it's low. But I will say this: if your man has adipose tissue, they need to remove it. They need to work very hard to get rid of that. Then they need to go and resistant train. Sprinting is really good for that. Lifting decent amount of weights. I mean, I'm gonna feel that solidness right there. Good. Anyways, I have great arms for a 50-year-old guy. So I mean, it's like I can still bench over 225 and stuff thanks to Travis Frisk and stuff like that. You work out Travis, you're gonna be pushing weight no matter what you do, man. So because he pushes you hard and stuff. So it's kind of crazy. But we have a full gym here. We just had even more equipment. It's kind of cool. I walked in for a while. I'm like, ooh, we have 3 more big things equipment. And we just got something for chest and stuff like that too. We got another thing that you can do when there's nobody here, as far as like, because sometimes you need a spotter when you do bench and stuff. So it's a kind of a bench seated press there. It's gonna be kind of cool. It's coming in. Anyways, that being said, we got time for one more question. Trini, what do we got?
Somebody on here said, I have a phobia of being fat.
I have a phobia of being fat. Very sorry that you have that phobia. Very sorry. The easiest way to get over the phobia then is let's work together. Okay, can you do me this favor? Do me this favor. And I said, I sound like a repetitive with ashwagandha and protein that way. What I want you to do is this. Let's just work together, not as a doctor-patient, just work together. Can you do this for me? I want you to evaluate what you're eating first. Evaluate what you're eating. Try to pull the highly processed food away. Focus on your meats or plant-based proteins first. Then throw some fiber in it, and that's going to fill you up pretty quickly, which is going to keep your calorie intake down. And can you just start to move for me? Just start to move for me. And if you do that every single day, your phobia will start to go away because you'll see your body start to transform. I'm very heartbroken that you suffer with that phobia, and it's okay. First, say it's okay. We all go through things. You're saying we all go through tough things, okay? And don't be embarrassed because you're scared. I'm scared of things. People think, I move confidently through life and I love life, and doesn't mean I don't have fear. I have fear of things. Do you understand? I can honestly tell you, when the FBI showed up at my house during COVID, because I was so strong, and I still will always be strong on the stances that way, do you think I didn't have a phobia every time I drove by a cop that I was there was that day the FBI showed up at my house, there was cops sitting at the end of my driveway. Remember that, Trini? And I'm like, well, girls, if I get arrested, you understand? I'm really too pretty for prison, so I don't want to go. Okay, and I have never done anything wrong to go to prison. But get my point, though? I'm like, I just, yeah. So, first of all, welcome to our page. You're very welcome here. If you need to send me some private messages, please email me at pflynn@thewellnessway.com. I'll be here for you. But let's just work together, eat some good proteins together, go to the gym together. And you may be in a different state, but I go to gym, you go to gym. Just do some resistance training. Know you got people here that care about you and hope to help you get over that phobia. And if we can be a blessing to you, and if you lack a little bit of money, send me your address and I'll send you a t-shirt you can work in. I'll send you a couple supplements to help you through the process that way. And I'm hoping that we can now help you get a little bit better shape and better health and you just gained hi, my name is Patrick and I'm your friend. All right, that being said, guys, I appreciate you guys. Love going live. It seems like we get more and more people live all the time. And we'll see you guys. Might be on tomorrow, otherwise it might maybe till next week. Hunting season starts this weekend. So, and remember, we have ADP on Saturday morning at all times, 8 a.m. All right, guys, we'll see y'all there.